joining us from Salt Lake City, Utah. Please welcome Apolo Ohno to the show. Apolo,
Thanks for having me.
we are live right now. My team had my heart racing. I don't know if I will tell everybody what happened. The fire alarm in his room went off and you had to leave, or you thought you were going to have to leave and not make the show. What happened?
Yeah, we had to leave. I'm staying in like a new hotel. I think that there's like a propane leak outside. But this is like the metaphor for life, right? You prepare for something, everything is set up, the lighting is good, and the snap of a finger, something gets thrown in your way that's uncontrollable, and you have to figure out how to adapt. So I'm happy that I'm on, and hopefully you can hear me okay.
Oh, we hear you great. That's what I tell my family, myself, the unknown variable. Like, things are going so great, and you should live in the moment of that beauty, but know that there is something around the corner waiting. It's a struggle, it's a challenge. And if you're prepared for it, you can deal with that unknown variable. And you've had a lot of that in your career, particularly after leaving the games. The unknown. You went from studying the craft of skating to now having to study life without it. What was that like for you?
The transition and the reinvention stage is really hard, I think, for anyone. I spent 15 years of my life preparing for a race that lasts approximately 40 seconds long, and the difference between the person crossing first and the difference between the person receiving the gold medal and the person fourth, who's off the podium stand, is not receiving a medal. That difference is just 2 finger snaps. And so when you've dedicated your life to something that has given you these kind of affirmations that this is your purpose, this is why you're here, this is what you're really good at, these are some skills that you've been gifted and granted, and you're harnessing them to propel you in this career that is giving you all this kind of love and appreciation and everything that we talk about. And then we decided to retire, or you decide to transition, or by force because you've been injured or whatever that reason is. And I'm talking from experience, those guardrails that kept you up, so to speak. So your friends, your family, your coaches, using your own internal emotions, whether you were operating from a place of a fear of failure, whether you were thinking about a place from, rage or insecurity, whatever was propelling you, right? We all use these kind of emotional things. You have a chip on the shoulder, you're angry. You can lean on that as a lever to propel you in sport. But when you retire, those guardrails that used to help you ping pong back and forth towards your goal, they go flat.
Yeah.
And once they go flat, now you're trying to figure out, what direction do I have? What else am I good at? Do I have purpose? What is my identity? Who else am I? And so that was the process for me, was like, what am I interested in? What am I passionate about? Does it align with things that I think are deeply important to my family, friends, community? And how do I find it, right?
Well,
how do I even know what purpose feels like?
I think that, when I left the Today Show, and that's where I first met you, I have this book that I always read. It's called Path of Light. And it says, who are you basically if you have nothing beneath your business card? And even if you don't have a business card, how are you used to introducing yourself? I am Moses' mom, or I'm so-and-so's husband, or this is what I do for a living. And that becomes your identity. I'm curious, though, for me, after being out of work for the first time in my life since age 14, the first 2 months I was like, I'm going on vacation, I'm doing everything. Where am I going? Then by the 3rd month, I was like, oh, what do I do? What's my identity? When you had the first month, I'm sure it was great. The second month, great. What happened a couple of months after retirement for you when it sinks in? I don't have to go to practice. I don't have a competition to look forward to. I just have me to look forward to.
Yeah, and thanks for bringing that up. I think, look, this is still the world's greatest asset, or it can be one of the world's strongest prisons, right between our own 2 ears. And so that internal communication and conversation that we have with ourselves is really critical to reaching or getting beyond or handling the circumstances that we are in. So if you're feeling lost, if you're feeling like you don't know what's going to happen, if you're feeling like you're not going to make it, this is still that conversation that I was having in between my own 2 years with myself of, maybe I'm not good enough. Maybe I'll never be good enough. Maybe I'll never be able to find something that will replace the feeling that I got from being on top of the world during the prime of my life. Maybe the best was behind me. And if you start to listen to that, that becomes your reality.
Yeah.
We know how powerful your thoughts and your mind are. And I think instead, creating this natural sense of curiosity. Well, you know what? If I'm a diamond, right? Like if we're all diamonds on this planet and we're always looking down from the top down, only on the top facet, the top surface of that diamond, the one that's the largest, we don't realize there's other parts of this diamond that are beautiful, but it's going to take work, right? It's going to take time. It's going to take pouring out that cup of information and starting with that beginner's mind all over again. And that's tough, right? No one wants to start from scratch. No one wants to start all over again, especially if you're in your 30s, your 40s, your 50s, and you feel like you don't have the background and information and resources at your fingertips. But the reality is, human beings adapt. We've been adapting for millions of years. And this internal conversation that I had to learn how to counteract and realize these are natural emotional responses because I care about the outcome, because I was still operating from a place that maybe I was trying to satisfy other people versus satisfy my own inner path and career. So once we understand that we live in a world and a society that is always constantly externally telling us which direction that we should go in, who we should be with, what we should have, what we should dress like, how much money we should make. Yeah. These are competitive elements, and they're good if you can harness them. At the same time, if they don't fit in alignment with your true north, that's going to be a challenge, and you're going to start living your life for someone else.
I love it. You know, we have another segment with you coming up, and I want to find out. Apollo had a chance to meet Erin Jackson. He tweeted about her. She made history this Olympic Games. And what happened when Erin saw his tweet, the meeting, all of that after the break. It's a beautiful story after this. And congratulations on this book. This is a type of book, Apollo, that you put in your bag, you carry it around with you, and you really just absorb what you've revealed here. I do want to ask you before I get to some of the things that you say folks can accomplish in it. History was made again at this last Winter Games in speed skating. Erin Jackson taking home the gold, the first Black woman to accomplish that. You posted a tweet in support of Erin, calling her, I think you said something to the effect of Olympic champion will be the words with your name forever. And you had a chance to meet Erin. What was it like to support her on her historic journey?
You know, Erin it's such an incredible story, right? People don't know, but she started skating on ice just less than 6 years ago. So imagine that, 6 years ago, she's been training as an athlete on short track speed skating, goes out against all odds. These games were unprecedented. She was faced with tons of challenges, as was every American athlete that went over there, right? There's geopolitical tension between America and China. There's COVID that has a zero tolerance policy while there. There was no fans and audience to watch these games live. And she was still able to go out there and kind of set this precedent that was legendary. And to be able to spend time with her, you know, she is a personality. She's very kind. She's very sweet. She almost just like thinks like nothing of it. It's like, oh yeah, I was doing my thing and I had a great race and I'm very grateful. And I was trying to tell her when I saw her in New York, I was like, listen, I want you to feel this. Like you are inspiring so many millions of people all over the planet who maybe would have never thought about going into the Winter Olympics, who say, you know what? I liked what she's done. Yeah. Maybe I look like her, or I have come from that same neighborhood or a background, or she has an inline skating background from the same club that I was from, whatever that might be. That's how we learn to skate. That's how we learn. That's how I learned. That's how my friends who joined teams that I was on learned. So she's doing something that's really spectacular, and I'm just so proud of her, and to do so under such hard circumstances. Oh my God, shows how good she really is.
I mean, and I know for her to meet the great Apolo Ohno was just inspiring as well. I want to get back to the book because something that is so awesome about it is that you break it down in golden principles. And you say, first, gratitude, second, giving, the next is grit. Then you say gearing up. And then the final thing, which I love so much, at the end of the day, you say go. And you say that's to develop the courage to take risks, learn from success and failure, and come back stronger. I love that, Apolo. I love it.
Yeah, thank you. And you know, if you had asked me about these 5 golden principles, 20 years ago during my first Olympic Games, I probably would not be able to articulate them in that way. But I think with all of the amazing experiences I've had in my life post-Olympic career, I've just seen these patterns of behavior amongst people who I would consider to be highly successful, and also people that I talk to who are in their 80s and 90s, about what a good life is, how to live a good life. And those are some of the attributes associated that everyone has from a commonality perspective. So we've got gratitude, right? We know the depth of gratitude. We typically don't seek gratitude until we're faced with immense loss, whether it's financial, relationship, whatever it might be. And then we just want the most simplistic of things to come back. I just want to breathe normal. I just want to be able to walk without pain. I just want to be able to sleep without waking up multiple times throughout the night. Whatever that might be, we take things for granted. And because life is a gift, we sometimes go through the motions without really recognizing. So gratitude puts you in that present state. The second is giving. We know the power of giving back to others. We know the power of giving back to our friends, family, and community, but we also don't talk too much around the power of giving ourselves the best possible chance of success. Yep. And what I mean by that is many of us naturally become self-saboteurs in this life game. We get in our own way. We're afraid of showing up fully and perhaps it just not being enough, right, because we've been married to the result and outcome versus the process, right, and the journey. Yeah. The third is grit. The journey's never easy, very hard. The fourth is gearing up. That's just setting your expectation. When you've had enough is enough, you're ready for change. You got to upgrade this right here, and then just go get after it. It's never going to be perfect.
I love it. Go after it. You know, it's like people hold themselves back. I remember when I was at MSNBC, Chris Matthews used to always say, don't let perfect be the enemy of good. Sometimes just go for the good, and then perfection might follow or not, but you've gone after it. You taught us how to go. We don't go as fast as you on ice, but we certainly all lived the dream with you. Congratulations on everything. Apolo Ohno, his book is Hard Pivot. Check it out.